In this lesson, let's talk about phrasal verbs. Hello and welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we're going to talk about phrasal verbs. As you may know, phrasal verbs are really difficult for some students. But why? Because there are many similar phrasal verbs. You just have to change the particle, the preposition, with the verb to make a new phrasal verb very similar to the first one, probably with a different meaning. And sometimes the same phrasal verb, trust me, can have 7 or 8 meanings. Let me give you an example. Look at all these sentences. I put off my homework till Sunday. The rainy weather put off many people from going to the beach. The smell of burnt food put me off my dinner. His messy appearance put off potential employers. The sight of the dirty kitchen put off the guests. Blech. The loud music put me off while I was trying to study. How many sentences are there? 6. And the phrasal verb put off has a different meaning in each of these sentences. How confusing is that? In the first sentence, put off means to delay or to postpone something to a later time. In the second sentence, put off means to discourage someone from doing something. In the third one, it means to make you lose your appetite. In the next sentence, put off means to create a negative impression. In the next one, put off means to disgust someone. And in the last one, it means to distract someone. The loud music distracted me. It put me off. The same phrasal verb put off had 6 different meanings. And that is why phrasal verbs are often confusing for students. Now, what we're going to do in this lesson is to learn all the common phrasal verbs of 5 main verbs in English. Break, turn, look, put, take. For each of these verbs, we're going to learn 5 very common phrasal verbs. Learning phrasal verbs this way will help you memorize them much more easily. And so when you want to use them in speaking and writing, it's easier for you to remember them. Now, enough talking, let's get started. Part 1, break. Let's put the particle down with break. Break down. What does it mean? It means to stop working, to stop functioning. If something breaks down, it stops working. For example, my car broke down on the way to work. My car broke down on the way to work. It stopped working, stopped functioning. Now, instead of down, let's put in. Break in. This phrasal verb has 2 meanings. The first one, the most common one, is to enter somewhere with force in an illegal way. Something that thieves would do. Thieves broke in and stole the TV. They broke in, they entered my house by force, illegally. They broke in and they stole my TV. What am I gonna do? The second meaning of break in, which is less common, is to wear new shoes. Now, when you buy a new pair of shoes and you want to wear them for the first time, what happens is they're usually hard and they're not as flexible as they should be. It's not easy to wear them and they may hurt your feet. So what you want to do is to break in. It took me a week to break in my new shoes. It means it took me a week to test my new shoes, wear them, so that they are now more flexible and I can wear them without them hurting my feet. Instead of in, let's say out. Break out. Now, break out has 2 meanings. One is to escape. The prisoner broke out of jail. The prisoner broke out of jail, escaped. The second meaning, which is again very common, is to suddenly begin. What do I mean? Look at this sentence. A fire broke out in the kitchen. A fire broke out in the kitchen. A fire suddenly began. A fire broke out in the kitchen. Now, instead of out, say up. Break up. What does it mean? Well, the most common one is to end a relationship. They decided to break up after 5 years. That means they decided to end the relationship. Break up. The second meaning is to separate something into pieces. For example, she broke up the chocolate into smaller pieces. She broke it up into smaller pieces. Separate them into smaller parts. And now the last one. Instead of up, let's say off. Break off. What does it mean? The first meaning is to suddenly stop. He broke off in the middle of his speech. It means he was giving a speech and he suddenly stopped. The second meaning is to separate something from a larger part. For example, you have a cookie and then you break off a piece of that cookie. She broke off a piece of the cookie. All right, enough with the verb break. Let's move on to our next verb, which is turn. Part 2, phrasal verbs with turn. The first one is turn on. Now, I'm pretty sure you know the first meaning of turn on. It means to switch on. Let's turn on the TV. Let's switch it on. The second meaning, which again is very common, is to excite someone or make someone interested. Ooh, the music really turns me on. Instead of on, let's say off. Turn off. Well, the first meaning is to switch off. Please turn off the TV when you leave. The second meaning is to make someone lose interest. The bad smell turned him off. He went to a restaurant and the restaurant was a very nice place and he was so excited, but wait a second. Oof. The bad smell turned him off, made him lose interest. What if instead of off we say up? Turn up. One of the meanings of turn up means to arrive. She turned up late to the party. She turned up late to the party. It means she arrived late. The second meaning is to increase the volume. What? I can't hear the radio. Can you turn it up? Can you turn up the radio? I cannot hear it. Instead of up, let's say down. Turn down. What does it mean? The first meaning, one of the most common meanings of turn down, is to reject. Turn down. He turned down a job offer in London. He turned down a job offer in London. It means he rejected it. No, I'm not coming to London. I'm not going to work in London. I turned down the job offer. The second meaning is to decrease the volume. Turn up, turn down. Can you please turn down the music? I'm trying to record a video. And now, instead of down, let's say over. Turn over. One of the meanings of turn over is to flip. Hey, let's turn this over. Turn over the pancake to cook the other side. Turn it over. And the second meaning, which is a professional meaning, means to give control of something to someone. I will turn over the project to my assistant. I'll turn over the project to my assistant. I'll give this project to my assistant. She will have control over it. Enough with turn. Let's go to the next one. Phrasal verb of look. Let's start with look after. Look after has one very common meaning. To take care of something or someone. Hey, can you look after my dog while I'm away? Can you look after my dog while I'm away? That means, can you take care of my dog while I'm not here? Now, instead of after, let's say for. Look for. If you look for something, you're searching for something. You're trying to find something. You look for it. I'm looking for my keys. Have you seen them by any chance? I'm looking for my keys. A very common phrasal verb of look, which I am pretty sure you've heard it before, or you've seen it at the end of emails, look forward to. Now this one is a phrasal verb with two particles. Look as the main verb and forward and to as the two particles. If you look forward to something, you anticipate with pleasure. It means you're happily waiting for something to happen. I look forward to it. I look forward to the weekend. Yay! I'm happily waiting for the weekend to come. Now notice that in this sentence, after look forward to, we have a noun, the weekend. But what if we have a verb? For example, meet. I look forward to meeting you. Wait a second. Look forward to, that's a to. Okay. Meeting with ing, to and ing together. That's impossible. You can never have an infinitive with a gerund together in English. That's not possible. So what's going on here? Well, here's a common mistake. Students think that this to is an infinitive to, whereas this is not an infinitive to. It's a preposition. And after preposition, we have gerund. So look forward to plus verb in the ing form, in the gerund form. I look forward to meeting you. But that's only if you have a verb. If you don't have a verb and you want to use a noun, there is no need for gerund. I look forward to the weekend. Enough. Now, instead of forward to, Let's say into. Look into. Look into something means to investigate something. To try to find out what went wrong or what's going on. To investigate, to analyze. Look into. And finally, instead of look into, let's say, look up. Look up means to look up, right? Well, in a literal sense. But as a phrasal verb, what does it mean? One of the meanings of look up is to search for information. I need to look up one word in dictionary. I don't know the meaning. It means I need to search for information, for the meaning of this word in a dictionary. I need to look up for it in dictionary. And the second meaning of look up, which is again very common, if you look up to someone, you admire that person. You think that person is admirable and you want to be like that person. You want to follow in their footsteps. I really look up to my brother. I think he is a very decent person. Moving on to the next verb, put. Phrasal verbs with put. Now, before we start this one, let me tell you something. Do you want to have the full list of all these phrasal verbs with their meanings and example sentences in one PDF file for free? Then you can download my Ultimate English book. This book has not only the summary of this lesson, but the summary of all of my YouTube videos in one place for free. That is right, you can download my book, which has more than 500 pages of lesson summary for free. But how? Simply click on the link above my head. Go to my website, type in your name, your email address, your country, and click download. You will receive the link to my book in your inbox. Enjoy! And now let's get back to our lesson and let's talk about put. Put away. Put away. What does it mean? Imagine your room is messy. Your clothes are all over the place. And your mom or your wife or husband or your partner in general comes in and says, hey, clean up your room. Put these items of clothing away. Put them away. What does it mean? To throw them out? No. Put away means to store, means to put them somewhere where they belong. So you pick them up, you open the closet, you put them in and close the door. You essentially put them away. Please put away all your toys. Look at the room. Put away all your toys. The second meaning, which is not as common as the first one, is to save money. I try to put away some money every month. It means I try to save some money. Now, instead of put away, let's say put on. The most common meaning is to wear something. Put on, wear. She put on her jacket because she was cold. She put on her jacket. The second meaning, which is again very common, is to gain weight. I have put on some weight over the holidays. I've put on some weight. It means I've gained weight. Now, let's learn a phrasal verb with put with two particles. Put up with. Put up with somebody or put up with something. What does it mean? It means to tolerate someone or something. Ugh, I can't put up with this noise anymore. I can't put up with this noise anymore. It means I cannot tolerate this noise anymore. And the last phrasal verb with put out. One of the meanings is to extinguish fire. The firefighters put out the fire. The firefighters put out the fire, extinguish the fire. The second meaning is to cause inconvenience, or simply said, to bother someone. I'm sorry to put you out, but could you help me move this table? I'm sorry to put you out. I'm sorry to bother you. I'm sorry to cause inconvenience, but could you help me move this table, please? And now to the last verb. Phrasal verbs with take. I hope you're enjoying this lesson and don't forget to continue taking notes. Let's continue with take. The first phrasal verb is take after. If you take after somebody in your family, that means you resemble them. You look like them or you act like them. You take after them. She takes after her mother. They have the same eye color. She takes after her mother. She resembles her mother. She looks like her mother. They have the same eye color. Next is take off. Now, if you're talking about an airplane, to take off means to leave. The plane will take off at 6 p.m. The plane will leave the ground at 6 p.m. But the second meaning of take off is to remove clothing. Please take off your shoes before entering. Please take off your shoes before entering. It means please remove them. Now, instead of off, Let's say on. Take on. Take on means to accept a challenge. He decided to take on the project. Yes, he decided to take on the project, to accept the challenge. I'm taking this on. But the next meaning, a corporate meaning of take on, means to hire. The company will take on more staff next month. It means the company will hire more people, will take on more staff next month. What about take over? To take over means to gain control. If you take over something, you gain control over it. She will take over the business when her father retires. She'll take over the business. She will gain control of the business. And last but not least, take up. Now, one of the meanings of take up is to start a hobby. He decided to take up painting. He decided to take up painting. Take up a hobby. Take up tennis. And the second meaning of take up is to occupy space. What do I mean? Look at this sentence. This couch takes up too much space in the living room. This couch takes up too much space in the living room. It occupies space. And that's it. We have learned 25 phrasal verbs in this lesson. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to practice and don't forget to make sentences with these phrasal verbs. See ya.